והיא שעמדה לאבותינו, והיא שעמדה לאבותינו ולנו.
Welcome to Shabbos Kavod Oneg. This week is Parshas Shabbos Va'era, and then we have amazing guests this week as always. I just want to share an interesting concept that I saw recently from the Dvar Torah that's regarding patience. And the Dvar Torah says that one of the foundations of Klal Yisrael's perseverance in Goldish is patience. And the way that he utilizes that is that patience is a specific meter that allows us to weigh the things that we're looking at and evaluate and balance. And that's the thing that links Goldish to Geula. When we're going through the Goldish, our patience, our obviously we don't want to be going through bad things. Klal Yisrael went through it in Mitzrayim and through the years. There's an ongoing Goldish, but we have to recognize that it's a piece, part and parcel of the Geula. And he says that this is he links it to a very interesting Gemara. He says that this is a mitzvah that Hillel taught us. The Gemara says in Brachas that Hillel was once walking into the city and he heard a yell from a house. And he said, I know it's not from my house. So how does he know? So the Parshas of the Gemara is that he had confidence from Hashem, that nothing bad is going to happen. And it turns out it wasn't from his house. So it's a very tricky Gemara, because does that mean that if I have confidence that nothing bad should ever happen, that's going to be the case? So through this lens, one can explain the Gemara as follows. Hillel knew that he taught the mitzvah of patience in his house. And if God forbid something bad happened, he wouldn't be hearing a yell. They would subtly take it in, go about, figure it out. So he knew, I hear a yell, can't be my house. And the haftacha to his household was that because they had the mitzvah of patience, they didn't overreact, they didn't quickly react to things in an outward fashion. That was the haftacha, that was the promise from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that they're not going to have bad, negative things happening. Similarly, we see by the Seder, this hopefully you can remember this by the Seder, it's a very nice concept, this mitzvah of Hillel, savlanus, patience. We know the famous story with the Ger, by the Seder as well. Zecher lemikdash kehillel. What was Hillel's thing and we do this by the Seder? We take the matzah, we wrap it with the marar, we dip it a little bit of charoses, we put together the midas hadin with the midas chesed, the gullus, the geula coming together, because for Hillel, and people that try to live like Hillel, it's all part of one big picture of taking it in together and recognizing everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This, by the way, is one of the foundations of what we are supposed to think about when we say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. This is the chiddush of monotheism in the world. Whereas other religions, they look at different elements. You have Satan and you have external factors that affect a person's life and do bad to you. Everything's from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We don't recognize anything else outside of Him. Any other midos or ways that the world might react is it's just part and parcel of how Hashem is being manig the world. So this is the shorish of Yiddishkeit, and the outcropping of recognizing Hashem's oneness, both good and perceived bad, is Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, which we say every day. It's a daily affirmation of Shema Yisrael, and that's actually the last thing a person says before they leave this world. And this week, in continuation of our series of featuring women in Sefer Shemos, based off the concept of Bishvil Nashim Tzikanios Negalu, in honor and in merit of the righteous woman, Klal Yisrael was saved from Mitzrayim, and we know other gulas also happened from that regard. We're honored to have a friend of mine. She's the owner of Primrose, which is a flower shop, a boutique flower shop, right off Avenue M in Flatbush. I highly recommend you utilizing her services. She's very creative. Enjoy the Dvar Torah. Have a good Shabbos.
Hi everyone. I just wanted to come on and talk about this week's Parsha for a couple minutes. So this week it's Parshas Va'era, and there's a lot going on in this Parsha. And there's one theme in particular which really stood out to me, especially because this is very much out of my comfort zone to do. So we see that Hashem goes to Moshe, and he tells Moshe, go speak to Paro and tell Paro to let Bnei Yisrael free of their slavery. So Moshe really doesn't want to do this. So he responds to Hashem and he says two things. He says, well, number one, why would Paro listen to me if I can't even get Bnei Yisrael to listen to me? And to me, that's a pretty good point. And the second thing he says is, well, I have a speech impediment. I really can't speak to Paro. So we already know from beforehand that Hashem doesn't give anybody a task or a test that they can't handle. That's not for them. So we know automatically that this really was a task for Moshe to do. And Hashem wouldn't have asked him to do it if he wasn't meant to do it. So we know automatically that he has the tools, he has the ability, and this task is for him to do. So we see in the next pasuk that Hashem he comes to Aaron as well, and he speaks to Moshe and Aaron together, and he tells them together to go speak to Paro. And the idea here is that Aaron would act as the lips for Moshe, and he would be the one to actually do the speaking. So we see from here something really amazing, that really every single thing that happens in our lives, we have the ability to overcome or to do or to be. So a lot of people think that we need these internal factors to accomplish tasks. So let's say, somebody is, going through a really big challenge, and they say, oh, well, I don't, that's not an inborn ability that I have. We learn from Moshe and Aaron that it doesn't have to be something that you have. It could be something external to you. It could be a person that that could help you get through a challenge. And that's really an amazing thing, because that means that every single, interaction that we have is an additional tool in our toolbox, that we could use every single part of our lives as tools to accomplish a task or a test or challenge that God gave us. So we really have to remember that every single interaction that we have and every situation that we have in our lives was put there for a reason, and either it's our task or a challenge, or it's a tool to overcome these tasks and challenges. So every person that we meet, we met for a reason, and we should take advantage of, using people, for the right, in the right ways, and using all of our gifts and talents and, everything that we got in this world, and use it for good and use it to accomplish these tasks. So we see with Aaron, he was going to be that external factor that's going to help Moshe speak to Paro. And we have to remember that there's really no such thing as a test or a task or a challenge that we cannot overcome, because if we can't overcome it, we wouldn't get it. Hashem doesn't give us something that we don't have the tools for. So sometimes it's just a matter of looking around and trying to find the right tools and speaking to the right people, and finding those friends who could really help you through something. So have a great Shabbos, everybody.
הקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו, הקדוש